Hello, everybody. Glad to have you with us on another episode of the Business Spotlight podcast. And today we're joined by Edgel Groves. He is a serial entrepreneur, and he's going to share with us his latest venture. We'll eventually get into, but it's pretty exciting. He's launched it full scale here just recently, and we'll take it from there and see where it is we go. Edge, how you doing today?
Doing great. Thanks for having me, Craig.
Yeah, man, this should be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so Edge, tell us a little bit about your history and how you got started, how you ended up in Nashville, or maybe you're a unicorn, one of the rare unicorns.
Yeah, no, I'm not. I'm not from here. Let's see, where do I start? So my parents met in 1978. No. I I was born and raised in Atlanta, actually.
Okay.
I have one younger brother. Came up, in Atlanta playing a lot of sports, and had a household full of music. My dad is a career musician, and so I was around that stuff too. So a lot of sports, a lot of music, and then uh, got to the point where it's time for deciding what I want to do as a living. When I got a little older, and I got into music, I decided to go the music route, and so I started a couple of bands, and one of those bands ended up getting some management and a booking agent and eventually a record deal. And so I hit the road for almost a decade as an artist. And so I toured the world and played 1,000+ shows, and played guitar and drums, and toured with a bunch of very well-known acts. And we did pretty well ourselves, but we never got to the point of selling out arenas or making a ton of money. But I would say that I accomplished almost all the things I wanted to accomplish in terms of being a musician. I was in a position to experience what very few people will ever get a chance to experience, and I got to do it over and over and over again. So that was pretty cool. But I get to a point where I realize I want to make some real money. I want to be a big boy and maybe buy some things one day or start a family. So I tried to cross over to the business side of the music business, and I eventually started a company with a friend of mine. It's an artist management company, and also had a record label side to it. And we signed a bunch of acts to that company, and eventually that company uh, did really well for itself. And I found myself taking a job with Sony Music in Los Angeles. So I never planned on moving to LA, but I ended up in LA, in my late 20s, and worked for Sony for a little while and realized I didn't like having a boss. So started my own company again, left Sony, and took some of the artists that were on that label with me. And I managed a few of them and consulted for some others. And that company ended up becoming sort of its own animal. My business partner uh, in all that was a mentor of mine. And then sort of later down the road, one of my business partners was a guy named Randy Jackson. If you've ever seen American Idol, or you know who he is. So Randy was one of my business partners in LA, and we had an office right on Melrose uh, in West Hollywood. And that was a really cool time. We represented dozens and dozens of artists, and it was right around the streaming boom. So Spotify, SoundCloud, Apple Music, all these things were really taking off. 2015, 2016, 2017. It was just a really exciting time. And that company ended up, I ended up rolling it into a music distribution company. That at that time, music distribution was a novel thing. You could start a music distribution company and have artists distributing their music through you. So it's different from a label. You weren't necessarily their record label. You were just their distributor, and you could do that digitally. And before that, you couldn't do that. You had to like physically print vinyls or CDs and put them on a truck and drive them around the country. But with digital distribution, you could just deliver people's music and their IP out to the streaming services. So um, I came into a company that was a startup, and we ended up doing really well. And as part of that deal, we sold that company to SoundCloud. And so SoundCloud was, if you know anything about music streaming, they're one of the pioneers, and they're one of the top players in that space. So it was very cool to be acquired by them. And at that stage, I was able to build a vertical inside of SoundCloud. When they purchased us, I created my own division inside of SoundCloud and had my own employees, and had a pretty pretty hefty budget to play with, to sign artists and develop new talent within those walls. So I was there for about 3, 4 years and did a lot of stuff I wanted to do there. But again, found myself wanting to be my own boss again. So I left SoundCloud in 2021, and that was the point where I thought, it's time to leave the West Coast. I've done my prison time here, and I wanted to get back to the South where I'm from. Atlanta's home. Nashville was always kind of a second home for me. I know a lot of people here. So it
Hmm.
was a natural move. So I moved across the country in 2021 to Nashville. Been here ever since.
That's
That's how
awesome,
I got
man.
here. Yeah.
That's awesome. So, man, what a ride, huh? What,
Yeah.
uh, what kind of music did you play when you were in the band? What was it? Some
Yeah,
genre of,
it was like pop rock. Yeah.
yeah?
So, we were very radio friendly early on, and we got some radio play. We had major stations in Atlanta and Charleston, South Carolina, and Knoxville, Tennessee, and places like that. They were playing us in rotation, and so we had a pretty loyal fan base in certain regions. But the music morphed over time, and we eventually became a progressive rock band. So we got nerdier and nerdier, and started playing stuff that was a little more obtuse and abstract to the average listener, and so which was fine. We were making ourselves happy, and we still had some fans, but we could never get to the tipping point, right? In the
Yeah,
music industry, you've got to get to the tipping point. If you can't start selling 15 or 10, 15, 20,000 tickets a night, um, you're eventually going to find yourself in that never ending grind of having to play 150 shows a year for the rest of your life to pay the bills.
yeah,
And um, I think at a certain juncture, none of us were really willing to do that in the
yeah,
band. But we did it for the love of the music. I can tell you that we played the music we wanted to play, and if somebody didn't like it, we gave them the middle finger, pretty
yeah,
much.
yeah. That's
Yeah,
pretty cool. And you did that for
yeah,
10 years.
yeah.
So I mean, you made a go of it.
Oh, I did it. Oh, I was one of those guys that I played music for a living, for sure.
Yeah,
um, wasn't subsidizing it with anything else. Every bill
yeah,
I paid for almost a decade came from standing on stage every night. So that was pretty cool.
yeah, yeah. Well, most stories you hear of musicians, former musicians that you meet who are living in Nashville currently started or their attempt at being in the music business in Nashville and then give up and go to do something different. But you've got like, I don't know, what, 10 years in between the stop of the band and then the start of your life here in Nashville. So that's a little bit different.
It was, yeah. I took what I learned from that and the contacts I had from being on the road, and I turned it into sitting on the other side of the desk, which was helping other artists figure out which potholes not to drive into, like we did. So
Yeah,
being a manager, being their label person, I enjoyed that. I enjoyed telling artists, don't do this or do that, or here's how this works. And but that's also sort of an interesting job path because it's feast or famine. When you're
hmm,
managing artists, there is no steady paycheck. It either works or it doesn't work, and it takes a while to figure out if it's going to work. It takes,
hmm,
every artist can take 2 or 3 years to ramp up as you work with them. So you're really investing your time and your love and your energy into something, and 9 times out of 10 it doesn't work.
yeah, yeah, right,
Uh, so again, hard lessons learned. I enjoyed it while I did it, but there wasn't any consistency in it. So
yeah,
part of the transition I've made recently in these past couple of years here was to start businesses where I could, uh, you know, have a firmer grasp on predictability and
mm,
continuity in terms of not only lifestyle but revenue, and to sort of understand what's going on. I mean, I'm still starting companies from ground up, and it's still being an entrepreneur, and you don't know what's going to happen, but it's a little bit more predictable. The music industry is the Wild West.
yeah, yeah. Well, it's funny you say that because uh, you're saying that founding companies is a little bit more predictable than the music
Yeah,
business. That's kind of
yeah,
funny.
yeah. The only thing worse than the music industry is the film industry. I don't know how anybody does that.
Hmm.
When I figured out how films got made, it blew my mind. I had no idea that it was that difficult. Yeah. To get a feature film made and then put out in the theaters is nothing short of a miracle. Just
Hmm.
one. We're talking thousands of people are involved, thousands of payrolls, visas, passports, W-9s, 1099s,
Yeah.
like, and then you got the production team, and then you got the insurance, and then the people who are funding those films, Craig, are typically random people. They're not the studios. Studios will put in some money, but a lot of times it's like, oh, rich guy over here from Russia just wanted to have his name as an executive producer on a film, so he put in $3 million. But you had to go convince him to do it, and just the kind of random stuff that has to come together to make a film. I thought to myself, how does anybody do that?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, interestingly enough, though, sounds like it's very similar to, venture capitalist investing in some idea. Uh,
It does. It does. I think the payoff though is like a film doesn't keep paying forever if you get it
oh,
right.
true. Very true. It's a one shot for 6 months to a year or whatever, right?
Yeah, like if the box office, you spend 5 million making it at the box office, it makes $1 million. You're upside down 4 million, and there's no residuals. You just spent 3 years of your life
Hmm.
trying to build that. So that to me is that the risk is not worth the reward.
Right, right. I hear you. So when you were on the road for those 10 years in your band, did you have a hand in the general management of the band at all or in the business operations?
I not at first. We had a full-time manager who was fantastic. He also booked all of our shows. But as time went on, I wanted to become, more business savvy. So my band
Hmm.
members actually often made fun of me for being the guy that was always on the phone or always sending emails. And, they'd say, God, why don't you just spend more time playing guitar and getting better instead of acting like a businessman? Um, and I took a lot of heat for that. And I think the joke ended up being on those guys because as soon as that dream came to an end, I was able to transition into other stuff easy, and they were left going, "Now, what do we do?"
Yeah,
And but it's the management stuff was also a necessity. I taught myself because I knew if something happened to our manager and he quits,
hmm,
nobody knows this business better than me, so I better learn it.
yeah. So he was good at teaching. Was he a decent mentor, the guy you learned from?
One of the best. Well, he was the lead singer of a very popular band.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
And he took us on as a pet project. He thought we were just a great band.
Oh,
And so
awesome.
we were his passion project. And so he was a great mentor on both fronts. He taught us a lot about the business, but a lot about the road too, and about the lifestyle. And he had already been there. He had a bunch of success. So whenever he would tell me something, I would take it at his word because
Yeah,
it's like, well, if you're telling me, then I believe you.
yeah, yeah. Awesome. And so you, I would say, safe to say that your experiences there laid the groundwork for your startups, for the founding of your subsequent companies.
Yes. If you can live on the road 220 days out of the year in a van, a beat up van with four other dudes, share a bed with another man every night of the week, eat ramen noodles and Subway sandwiches for every meal, and be comfortable with anywhere from 200 to $300 in your bank account at any given time, usually less. And you can survive on that for a decade and still see the positive, the glass half full. I'm convinced you can pretty much do anything else after that.
It's so funny because you're not the first founder I've talked to who's had some experience just like that. We were living off pennies, or you know what? I was a few dollars less than broke because I was overdrawn from the bank,
Yeah,
or and so it's like I'm like, dude, you got your training there,
that's it.
to be successful. If you can persevere and grit it out and still, make a living day to day doing that, then gosh, that prepares you for the big ones.
It does. If I can hire somebody that's either been on the road for 10 years or somebody that hasn't, I'm always going to choose the road person because I know that they know what it takes to just keep going.
Yeah,
It,
right.
yeah.
Yeah. And the biggest part of it is mindset and how you get to that place where you can, grit it out and be, you know what? I've heard it said that success is not a destination, it's the journey,
Mhm.
and I think in that case, what you described is really kind of spot on. You have to enjoy the journey and you expect, has every company you founded been a success, or how many you just expect failure? I mean, well, that's hard to say. Expect it. You know that it's going to happen, that you're going to have to learn, right? And you got to pick up
Yeah.
the pieces and put it back together and try again and do something different.
I like that. Yeah, I think there's lessons in everything. You go into everything hopeful, hoping it'll work out, but you also know if it doesn't, I better learn something from this and and enjoy it while it's happening. The worst thing you can do is not enjoy something while it's happening. What
Right.
a what a big miss. Like you've decided you're going to do something with your life. Even if it's not going well, find a way to enjoy it. That's the very least that you can control. You might
Yeah.
not have all the money in the bank, but you better find a way to have fun while you're doing it. Because then you're going to look back and go, not only was I broke, but I was miserable that whole time too. Well, you can at
Exactly.
least you can be broke and having fun.
Right. Right. No question. It's okay. So let's talk. I was sharing with you earlier that I was watching an episode online of you talking about PassPass. This is your latest venture, and I think your brother is a part of that, right?
Yeah, my
Yeah.
brother runs our business development and sales on the West Coast. So
When
he's
so tell us
yeah,
about PassPass, how it came to be, and what the vision is, and what the offering is.
yeah, so yeah, pass. In short, is we are a discount coupon app. So you download the app in the App Store for free. Inside of our application, there are thousands of deals all over the US. So whether you go to a restaurant, you get 20% off, or you go to a cocktail bar and you get your first drink for free, or you go to a Hilton hotel and you get 10% off your stay. There are just really great deals. If you remember those old coupon books, the entertainment books you used to get,
Yep.
uh, imagine all of those deals, but better deals at your fingertips at any time in an app on your phone. So no matter when you travel, you open up PassPass in this city, boom, here's the deals here. Here's the deals there. It costs $5 a month for the member. That's it. The cost of a coffee, essentially. That's it. And that gets you access to all the deals. So from a consumer standpoint, it's a no-brainer. Why wouldn't you pay $5 a month or $60 a year to save hundreds of dollars a month by using our app and find new places and new experiences you wouldn't know about otherwise? Because we have great deals with partners. So yeah, like I said, from a consumer side, I would use it even if I didn't start this company. It really is just such a no-brainer. If I don't know where I want to eat today, I open PassPass and I go, oh, you know what? The steakhouse has 20% off tonight. Oh, and free salad if I have PassPass. Now let's just go there. Great. Um, and the reason I started this company was I had this cool little company here in town called Hooch. We were a multimedia company. We were basically like podcasts and radio for country music. And we were trying to find sponsors who wanted to sponsor our shows because we had a
Mhm.
big audience that was paying attention, but we couldn't get them to really like, you know, sponsor us the way that you would have 20 years ago, 30 years ago in traditional media. So I thought, well, we have a big audience. Why don't we just start our own membership program and we'll just keep the revenue. We don't need to go get a sponsor. We'll sponsor ourselves. So we created this thing called the Nash Pass, the Nashville Passport, where you charge people $5 a month in Nashville to be a member of this thing that gets them discounts all over Nashville because Nashville's expensive. It got expensive real quick. Um, and so that was version 1.0. It was called the Nash Pass. And we just wanted people in this town to get great deals, save money. Well, we realized after having it up for a little while that it was not only a good idea, but a great idea. And a lot of our vendors slash partners were asking us if they could sell Nash Pass to their customers. They said, hey, people are coming in here wondering how they can get a membership to this thing because they want these deals. And they said, can we sell it? And we said, sure, you can. And once we did the math, we realized if we allowed all of our partners to be a reseller for us is the best
Mhm.
word for it, to find members for us, then we could give them an ongoing commission. Why wouldn't we? If you want to go be our sales team, by all means. Um, and so we changed the name to PassPass, which means the pass of all passes. And also it means like it's pass it on, right? Like you get
Mhm.
a good deal, you're saving money, pass it on. Pass that goodwill on to a friend. Share this app with a friend.
Mhm.
So we launched that name earlier this year, and we built the application and the tech around it, which took us about 6 months. It was a lot of tech, and we just launched last month. So The full launch and application of PassPass just went live about 35 days ago. So we're pretty brand new, but we are thriving right now. We're live in Atlanta, Nashville, Minneapolis, and San Diego. Are the four major cities we're live in. So if you live in any of those places, you can open up PassPass and you'll see hundreds of deals.
That's awesome. So, let's see. How did you settle on? Well, I guess you have a presence in San Diego, obviously in Atlanta and in Nashville too. And I'm thinking maybe you've got some connection there in Minneapolis.
Correct. Yeah, we chose our markets based on statistics. We
Hmm.
looked so that were the major feeder markets to Nashville, and people are coming here to visit. And where do they go back to? Those were some of the major markets, and then we went, well, do we know anybody on the ground there? It turns out we did. Minneapolis, my co-founder was from there, and he had people that were willing to open up pass there. My brother, who's Navy EOD military for 14 years, he's getting out soon. And I called him and said, would you be interested in leading up the West Coast in San Diego for pass? And he's like, absolutely. So he jumped in. And then in Atlanta, that's our hometown, and a major feeder market to Nashville. I made a few phone calls and found the right guy that I already knew. And so it was pretty easy actually to get those markets stood up. And now we're going into Boston and Chicago this year, later
Oh
this year.
wow. Yeah, those are pretty big markets.
Yeah, yeah, big undertaking.
Yeah. And so what's the sales approach look like? Is it one restaurant at a time, or
Yep.
um, you walk into the restaurant, talk to the owner? What's it look like to, I mean, and that seems like it might take some time. But just
You believe
curious
it or not, we
how
built.
you go into market.
Yeah, this is the $1 million question, and I would like to give the $1 million answer so people will not waste their time trying to do the wrong things. It First of all, we built all four markets simultaneously, and it took us about 5 months. So we
Okay.
put 2,000 deals in the marketplace in 5 months across four major markets.
Wow.
Um, how did we do it? Well, I'll start with how we didn't do it. We didn't do it from cold phone calls or calls or sales or a call center. All that didn't work. We had a team making thousands of calls a week, not one conversion on our
Wow.
behalf.
Wow.
Uh, so that didn't work. We also tried signing up for Zoom info and LinkedIn business and all these things where you get access to all these contacts and you can send them an inbox message. Zero conversions from that too. Thousands of dollars wasted. We tried hiring people who go out and they broker deals and consultants who, oh, I know so and so up at the top of the food chain and they own 35 restaurants and we'll get you guys a meeting and they're going to bring all 35 restaurants in. And okay, we tried that too. Nothing. How did it work? Ground and pound, outdoor sales team. Put a group of 3 to 5 competent people on the ground with backpacks and a jug of water, and you go door to door at every establishment in that city. You build out territories and you go in until you get the decision maker in the room, whether it's the owner or the GM, until they understand the proposition and you sign them up on the spot. And
Wow.
that, we're talking, that is the only way it works. Unfortunately, it took us some time to figure that out, but that's why I say the $1 million answer is anybody listening to this, if you want to go build a business like that, especially when it's independent businesses, you're going to have to go door to door. They do not answer their phones. They do not check their emails. And if they don't know you, they don't trust you.
Yeah.
You got to go meet them.
Yeah. Well, why wouldn't an establishment, because it doesn't cost the establishment anything, right?
No, we don't charge businesses anything.
So it's almost like free marketing for them through, and the businesses in Nashville's case, I mean, gosh, they draw tourists year round here, right?
Yep.
So that's an absolute no-brainer for any restaurant in Nashville to do it.
It
Um,
is. It is. We think it's a win-win, right? Like we're going to bring you people for free. We're going to market and advertise you. We're going to give you software to manage your customer base for free. Because if somebody's using PassPass and they're claiming deals from you or they sign up through your business, we're letting you know who that user is and we're paying you for it. So for a business, if they don't want to opt in, I don't know what to tell them.
Yeah.
You're missing the point.
Well, so
It's
the good thing for your sales force is you've got a true value proposition that is easy to communicate and probably pretty simple for the owner to understand and see the value in, right?
It is now because the app is live. Let me tell you, these poor salespeople, a lot of them are very good friends of mine that I hired. They had to go sell air because we had no app. We were
Ah,
building the plane while we were flying it. So they were
ah,
going door to door in Nashville and San Diego and Atlanta, Minneapolis, with nothing but words saying, we're this thing called PassPass. The app will be ready in 4 months. But what does it look like? Well, we don't have anything yet, but it's gonna function like this. And it's gonna look like this, we think. And they were still somehow able to get it done. So they could do it without the app. Imagine how easy it is now.
yeah, right. Well, I would imagine the conversion rate took a big jump once it was live.
It did. It's
Yeah,
instant. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. That's awesome. That's good stuff. And I'm curious how how you guys did that because it is it's not like you can get all restaurant owners in Nashville in one room at one time and give them one big pitch unless there's some big restaurant convention going on.
Even then, even
Yeah,
then, they wouldn't sign up because people don't like something if they don't feel like it was their idea or it was them doing it. When you put too many people in a room, they feel like it's not special anymore.
yeah, right, right,
So
right.
honestly, it's the one-on-one. We went the Chamber of Commerce route. We went to all these mixers and meet and greets and same thing. They'll give you their business card, and then when you follow up, they go, yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah, yeah, right. Well, tell me on the user side, on the app side, how many subscribers do you have to the app for $5 a month?
So we're just in beta right now. When I say we're in
Ah,
beta, we're giving out free trials
mhm,
to some businesses right now in Nashville, so we can get our first users in. We're going to get customer feedback, and we're working out the bugs in the app since it's only been live for a month in the App
mhm,
Store. So right now we're around 1,000 members in Nashville, but our target, and we're on target right now. Once we start to really ramp up to be around 100, 150,000 users by next spring. Um,
okay.
but that again, that sort of grows on itself. That compounds month over month, year over year, very quickly. Once we get to 100, 150,000 members, then the following year you jump up to 500,000, and then you
Yeah,
jump to a couple million. But we're being very conservative right now because we want to make sure we don't take on too much too fast and the thing crashes or we don't know what we're getting ourselves into. So we're in beta, but it's going really well, really
yeah.
well.
That's great. That's great. So, software development is underway, app development. Um,
Yep.
what what's the biggest hurdle you got out there? What's the biggest challenge?
It's like with any new product, it's education, right? Like
Hmm.
people often compare us to Groupon because that's what
Yeah.
they've heard of before, but we're nothing like Groupon. We couldn't be more different in terms of the business model and Groupon costs businesses money. We pay businesses money. Um, Groupon is all about group deals. You have to buy deals in bulk to get the deal. With us,
Mm.
there's no such thing as that. You can just get a discount at any time. One person, five people, doesn't matter. It's just great deals anytime you want them. So we're very, very different, but you have to explain that to people because they've been trained to hear Groupon. Well, I already know what that is, so I know what you are. And you're like, no, you don't actually.
Yeah.
Um, and then the second part is just getting people to try something new, right? So our real struggle is going to be getting enough people to try it where you hit critical mass and enough people have tried it to where they then now want to pay for it and use it. So often the name of the game in subscription businesses and digital products like this is free trials. So you got to give away, you know, enough free trials to where you get enough of subset of those people to actually start paying for it. But there's no great science to giving away free trials. You have to try every avenue. You have to find as many distribution routes as possible. So uh, part of what we're going to focus on is how do we turn over all those rocks
Hmm.
and get this into the hands of many people as we can.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. It's because you're selling on both sides, right? You're selling to your vendors or the restaurants,
Yep.
and you're also selling to the end user community.
Yep. That's right. And the restaurants, well, it's every kind of business. We have chiropractors, we have
Oh,
tourism.
wow.
It's not just food, it's
Oh,
everything. We've got
okay.
we've got people giving deals on rock climbing. We
Oh,
got
wow.
it's everything. So um, what's great about the business side is that's starting to become its own thing where businesses are finding out about us and they're just signing up.
Yeah.
So I think eventually the sales team won't have to focus as much on B2B. And that'll allow us to put more resources into D2C, direct to consumer.
Yeah. Awesome. Um, you said something a few minutes ago, Edge, about we pay businesses. And I don't, tell me about paying businesses. I'm not sure that was clear to me in our conversation. How are you paying businesses?
Yeah, so typically a business, um, let's just say a business is working with Groupon. If that business were to ask one of their consumers or one of their customers, hey, do you guys have Groupon? They go, no, we don't. And that business goes, oh, you should download Groupon, then you can get a deal with us. Well, if that person goes and downloads Groupon or goes and signs up with Groupon, that business isn't getting a kickback necessarily for that. They just told them about it. We are allowing businesses to refer past customers into the marketplace, and then we pay them in perpetuity. So let's just say, here's a great example. I live here in Nashville. I walk into a restaurant right in downtown here, and the server tells me, or I see a sign on the table that says, appetizers are free on Wednesdays, and you get 20% off your tab if you have Pass. And I go, oh, sure. Well, I want a free appetizer, and I definitely want 20% off. And so they go, well, how do you become a Pass member? And they go, well, scan this code. Well, that code for that restaurant, that QR code, we gave to them. That's their referral code. So that person that just walked in, they did not know about Pass, they don't have it yet, but the restaurant told them they're going to get an incredible deal on the spot if they sign up for Pass through them. That person scans the code, they become a $5 a month member. Now they got their free appetizer, they just made their money back, and they got 20% off their tab. And when they leave there, they have access to thousands of other deals now because they're a paying member. Because that restaurant referred them in, we know that. And we give that restaurant $2.50 of that person's membership every month, as long as they maintain a member in perpetuity. We never turn it off. So think about that. If that restaurant refers in 20 people a day, every single day of the week, that's a lot of residual income for that business. That's $2.50 times 20 times 365.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
that's a revenue stream that could pay for a couple salaries, that could pay their mortgage, that could pay all they could open another restaurant with that income. So it gets pretty meaningful. I mean, we've got coffee shops here in town that are only moving 3 a day, but that's 30, 33, 34,000 extra a year
Wow.
by getting 3 people to scan a code a day.
Wow.
Right. So not that we can find, there is no business in history that has ever paid businesses in perpetuity to do something like that while also bringing them customers for free. We market them for free and bring people right back in.
Wow. And so I am assuming you've done the math on number of users and number of, do you call restaurants and businesses, you call them vendors or do you call them partners
We call them
or
partners. Yeah, we call
partners?
all of our businesses are called partners. Yeah.
Yeah. So you've done the math and you've figured it out and it all makes sense.
It does. We're an at scale business, but we're a 34% net profit business. So about 66% of everything we make goes back into consumers' pockets and into the businesses' pockets and affiliates. So, if you look at it like this, right now we're in 4 cities, and I'll just pull out my phone calculator here so that I don't get it wrong. But okay, we're in 4 cities. We've got 300 deals in each city. 300 times 4, It's 1,200 businesses. If these 1,200 businesses all move 3 passes a day, that's 3,600 members a day across all 4 cities. And you do that every day of the year, times 365, it's 1.3 million members. If you got 1.3 million members coming in annually across those cities, and we're a 34% net profit on that, divided by $2.50, it's a very, very lucrative business at scale.
Yeah.
So, for us, we see the big picture. Our whole mission statement is to keep every business in business. That means we're going to give them an additional revenue stream that they didn't already have, and we're going to bring them customers they didn't already have. So, our big vision is to bring this to every city in America and have millions of businesses opted into this. There's 33 million independent businesses in the US. That is a stat I did not know until I started this company. That blew my mind.
Wow, that is a big number. So the 400 partners you have in each of those 4 cities now are bringing in users, I guess, getting people to register for the software and are being compensated currently, right?
Correct. Yeah. Any business that's already with us right now that's signed up, they have access to their dashboard, and if they're already moving memberships, they're already seeing the money come in, and they're currently getting paid.
Yeah, cool. And your software is in beta though, right?
Everything's live, technically. Everything's live. If you're in the program, if your business opted into PassPass, everything works. When I say beta, it means we aren't actively pursuing a bunch of new users. We're just allowing a few of our partners to refer people in so we can make sure that the tech works, but the tech is live. It's by all means, it's there, it's built.
Cool. So I could go into the App Store today and download the app and start being
if you're here in Nashville, you've got deals in your backyard. You open it up and you'll see there's a ton.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's fantastic. That's really exciting, man. And it so this was founded. Was Hooch a failure?
I would not call it a failure.
I wouldn't either.
Had we, well, obviously we wouldn't be here if it weren't for Hooch.
Right.
But I gotta say, even if we hadn't come up with this, Hooch was the kind of thing where had we stuck with it, that's a healthy business. You can have a good media business and make a good living that way. But this idea was one of those unicorns where we just walked into something and came up with something that is a once in a lifetime business idea. We should run with this. We should stop the Hooch thing right now and go do this.
Yeah.
And so, happy accident.
Yeah, that's awesome. But that's how they happen, You put something out there that you think will work, and other ideas pop, and then it's obvious where you need to go.
That's the thing I tell people. If you're going to start a business, you better be prepared to iterate and pivot. If you're the kind of person that holds on for dear life to some idea, or you're a perfectionist, this ain't for you.
Yeah. Well, I've heard it said that you should fail fast,
Fail
so
really fast. Yeah.
So you can figure it out and change and hit the sweet spot,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I like that. Fail fast. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. I mean, Hooch was great, but man, when you have that idea hit you like a ton of bricks. I called my business partner, Matt, he's my co-founder in all this. And I called him and I was like, what if we do this thing called Nash Pass? And what if it's this? And what if it's that? And he's an extremely intelligent, successful guy and just really cool. But he's different than me in the sense that his first inclination is to ask questions and poke holes in something. That's just how he's wired. He's gonna want to tell you why he doesn't think it's a good idea first, and then if you can convince him out of that hole, if you can pull him out of that, then it is really a good idea. And he at first was like, I don't know, nah, don't like it, don't see it, don't get it. And then the more we talked about it, and a couple of days went by, he called me. He's like, I get it now. He's like, I get it. He's like, okay, I see it. He's like, let's go all in on this. And I was like, okay. I was like, he clearly put some thought into it. And so that was reassuring.
Yeah. And you've gotten some response from the market too to give you positive or confidence that you're on the right path, right?
Absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
2,000 businesses opted in, and there's so many cool deals we have, and we have people wanting to open franchises in cities all around the U.S. We're getting requests on a daily basis to say, "Hey, can we open this city for you? Can we open this city?" And so, yeah, we're definitely getting feedback, and just to think we started this thing in February, it's
Yeah.
great. It's August.
Yeah.
This isn't
So,
even 2 years later. This is the
yeah.
same.
Right, right. So the sales, the 3 to 5 on the street, boots on the street salespeople, you still have working the streets of each one of those cities, I'm sure, right?
We do. They are out there grinding, and in a lot of ways, they're wearing multiple hats. They're our sales team, but they're also our partner success team. So they're also helping those businesses sell their first memberships and help them come up with better deals to put in the marketplace and help them thrive inside of PassPass. So they're not just signing them and walking away; they're actually doing partner success with them. And so it's a lot. But I mean, you know, it's all upside for them too, though, because the way we've structured this thing for our sales team, it's a very, very attractive sales commission based business for them too. So if they win, they really win.
Yeah, that's awesome. So if I'm one of your success partners or a future success partner, yet I don't know anything about it, and I'm listening to this podcast or watching it, how can how can I reach out and learn more about it and maybe become a partner?
Yeah, there's a place right on the website. You go to passpass.com, and there's a place where you can inquire about new markets or being a partner, or you can register your business on the website uh, no matter where you live. You don't have to be in one of our core markets. We're actually in 60 US cities, technically.
Hmm.
But our core markets are the ones that have hundreds of deals in them that I mentioned.
Mhm.
But we're in 60 other cities. We're in Rochester, New York, and a couple deals in Tampa, a couple in Fort Lauderdale, a couple in Dallas. I mean, you can open the map and you can see all over the US. There's sprinkled pass pockets everywhere. So the nice thing about having an open marketplace like that is if somebody's really excited about what we're doing and they want to go build out a city, they can.
Yeah, yeah, that's
They go, you
awesome.
know what? I really think this would do well in El Paso. I'm going to call all the business owners in there because I'm a business owner and I own a restaurant and I know all the other guys who own restaurants. I'm going to call them all and tell them they should put the deal in here and we're going to get El Paso on the map. You could
Yeah,
turn that city into a winner in 2 months if you
yeah.
wanted to.
Well, and especially if if you have a contacts in the city, of course, right?
Yep.
And like I said, it seems like an easy sell. I can't imagine somebody hearing it and not wanting to participate. I mean, what risk is there?
None. I think there's no risk. The one thing is people often see something like this as one more thing they have to do. Oh, well, now I got to worry about PassPass. I have to log into the dashboard every week to see how it's doing. I got to make sure to tell my customers to scan the QR code. I got to honor the deals when they come in. All that sounds like a lot of work, but it's really not.
Yeah,
These business owners are doing it anyway. What they're not, I'm talking about the ones that don't get it right away. What they fail to see is that you're interacting with customers every day. They come in, they spend money with you, and they leave, and you don't know who they are.
hmm.
We're
I'm
giving,
telling you, that's prevalent throughout, you know?
right? And we're giving you the ability to not only know who they are, but give them something that's going to hook them in and provide additional value so they're going to be more loyal to you. And then you're going to have their information so you can market back to them and you get an extra income stream. So you're
Mhm.
doing all the stuff you're already doing, you're just doing it better. And the
Yeah,
ones who understand that are really excited about what we're doing.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's awesome. So, have you, I got just one more question.
Sure.
Have you, from the business, just as you described it, business owners might think that, well, I've got one more thing I've got to manage. How, in the app for, oh, I'm sure you have apps for the user, but you probably have apps for the business owners as well to manage, to manage their business, manage this promotion of their business.
Yep.
Um, What have you done to make it easy for them? What have you done to hook them in? Have you gamified any of that? Are you making it easy for them to track, well, what their revenue stream is now because they've got X number of people who have signed up? Have you done all of those things? I'm sure you have.
We have, that's part of the application. So there's the user application, which is the app itself for the consumer. And then for every business, they actually have their own login and their own
Mhm.
dashboard, which is a product we built simultaneously. So they actually log in, they can manage their deals in real time. So you right now as a business owner can go change your deal in PassPass in your dashboard, hit save, and it goes live in our app for the consumers instantly. And in that same dashboard, you can see everybody that's ever paid, all the revenue you're making, and there's a 30-day, 90-day, 60-day ticker of how much money you're making, and we pay out monthly. So it's very much gamified. You can update your profile picture and your company picture and your header, the way you appear in the app. So it's almost like having your own Facebook page, but for PassPass, and you're managing it. So everything's right there. We built it for them. So um, yeah, it's very sticky. It's very sticky in that sense that the people that are using it right now, they're in there, multiple times a week,
Yeah.
updating things and managing it and checking in. How much money are we making this week? Oh my God, how many people have converted? Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool, man. That's awesome. I'll tell you what, Edge, this has been awesome to sit here and talk with you and learn about your business and learn about your history and, especially this last venture you're on with PassPass. I'm sure it won't be your last. But man, you've got some great things going and been so much fun chatting with you to learn about it.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me, Craig. I really appreciate the discussion and good questions. I like people that know the right things to ask. It makes it more
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah, it is fun, man. It's a ton of fun.